Hi everybody, welcome to tonight's live class. I'm just trying to join you in the comments. If you can just let me know if you can hear me, I would appreciate that. So while we're waiting for everybody to join, I just want to say tonight is our last live class for the year. So that is I don't know if the word's exciting, but it leaves a feeling. I think it's been an amazing year in terms of classes. We've had some amazing new teachers, and I'm so grateful for everything that I have personally learnt and that I've been able to pass on to others. So I'm seeing some people in the comments. Hi Candace. Okay, so you can hear and see me. So on top of it being the last class for the year, there's a lot of exciting things happening in our little Cricut world. So I just wanted to shine some light on that. So we do currently have the Christmas challenge going on. If you have not entered yet, there's still quite a bit of time left. So it's loads of fun. Remember, it's for everybody, whether you're a beginner, whether you are a more advanced user. We just want to see your creativity. So we're not looking for the most outlandish projects. We just want to see what you come up with. And then we've also had some exciting new materials that have been released. So there is puff vinyl, there is flock. So if you don't know what flock is, it has like a furry feel to it, which is really, really exciting. There's also packs of mats, so I think you get like 4 in a pack. I think there's even an 8-pack, which is really exciting because I think we all know how quickly mats go. And then the other thing is that in the meta region we have reached 100,000 active members, which is absolutely amazing. So huge congratulations to everybody involved, and I think that goes to everybody in the comments too, because you're all part of it. So that is super exciting. Okay, so I just want to show you what we'll be making tonight. So we're going to be making a Christmas Eve box. Sorry, the light's super bright. So there it is. So with this one, it is not a flip open type. I'm just trying to open it quickly so I can show you. It actually opens into 2 pieces, which I love. So that makes it very versatile. You can use it for Christmas Eve boxes. You can use it for all sorts of things. So you will see what it is actually for. We will also be making little treat bag toppers, as well as our Santa print then cut letters. So very exciting, and I think we can dive right in. So this is an intermediate class. I will be explaining a lot of basic concepts, but I will be moving a little bit faster. So if there's anything that you didn't catch, or that you're unsure of, or that you need clarification on, you're more than welcome to leave your questions in the comments. If I don't get to it, then I'm sure one of the lovely admins will. So as always, a huge thank you to Cricut and Logitech for sponsoring this class. Let's dive in. So we're going to start in Design Space, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for Megan Tate. So she is actually one of our South African members, and she has a lot of amazing projects. So to search for a person, you're going to type in their name, and then at the top here you're going to click on Profiles. So we want to have a look at her profile. And I'm going to scroll because she shares a lot of amazing things, but I'm looking for a specific box. And we will find it. It is here, promise. So the box we're looking for is actually a bauble box. I've used this as a shipping box, if you will, for one of my customers. And it worked really well, and it looked nice and professional. I've used it as a bauble box, and now I'm going to be using it as a Christmas Eve box. So I could have bookmarked it, but I do like to just give credit to the original creator. I think that's very important, because I think we all put a lot of time and effort into the things that we create, and it's nice to be recognized for it. So I am not claiming the box as my own. This is her design. I'm just going to be using it. So here it is, bauble box of 4. We're going to say edit a copy. Okay, now you'll see if we zoom in, she has actually used the draw function to create a beautiful pattern. You can see she's put a lot of effort into that. So if you don't have a printer, if you only have white cardstock and you want to spruce it up a bit, you can always go with this option. So we're not going to be using this. I just want a plain black box. You can obviously use whatever color you want. So again, what I love about this project is it's super simple, literally 2 pieces of cardstock. We're not going to have the window on top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete our draw function. You can obviously keep it if you'd like to. It's completely up to you. Okay, so you can see that what she's done here is she's attached all of this. And you will see here we have a square and we have score lines. So what we can do is zoom out a little bit. And we actually don't have to detach it. We can just delete this little square. So that square was going to create a window on the top of the box. Remember, when you attach 2 objects, they're going to work together. So if it is 2 cut objects, then where they overlap, your machine is going to cut there. So how she had it positioned, that was going to cut a window for us. Now, because we are not having a window on top, we can also get rid of this, which would have been our acetate sheet. So there is just a quick rundown on how it would have worked if you were using it as it was designed. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to look at the sizing. So it's only 24 and 24.5. So remember, the top of the box is bigger than the bottom of the box because the bottom of the box fits into it. So the lid is bigger. So what I want to do is I want to increase this so that it is my maximum cut size, and that's going to give me a bigger box. So you can see 29.66 is a little bit too big. So I think it's 29.2 is your maximum cut size. So that's just something to remember. So we're just going to make it a little bit smaller. That works. So I could actually go a little bit bigger. And it's really just a size and see kind of thing. So that's fine. We can work with that. So now we're going to work on the top of our box. So you can see I've zoomed in. If I click on this one, we can see that it's 28.93. And if I click on this one, you can see it's 28.33. So the smaller piece is going to be the bottom of my box and the bigger piece is going to be the top. So when I do the design, I'm going to use this as my template. So now I'm going to insert a shape. I'm going to use a rounded square. So the reason I'm using a rounded square is I find, especially when you're cutting thinner materials, if you're doing the squared edges, there is a higher chance of it sort of nicking. So this, I mean, it's not absolutely necessary, but it helps a little bit. So Candace, it might not just be you that there is vibration. My fan on my laptop is not liking me right now, so I've just moved my speaker. I hope that's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to size this according to what I think looks good. I'm going to go with that. I think that's good. I'm going to change it to white. Yeah, I do apologize about the vibration. It is my fan on my laptop has decided that it doesn't like me anymore. So I'm just having to kind of work with that at the moment. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use a pattern for this. So we're not going to do a pattern full. We're going to go to our images, and I've actually bookmarked it. So I have moved my speaker. I hope it's a bit better now, not as loud. So we don't need that. I want to go to my bookmarked images. So we're going to look for Christmas background pattern, Christmas pattern. And then I actually just want to change it to my bookmarked ones because I did bookmark this one. There it is there. Okay, so we're going to place that there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select our square and our Christmas pattern, and we're going to slice that. We're going to get rid of that. We can keep the solid one at the bottom. It's not going to make too much of a difference. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our images, and we're going to look for Christmas Eve box. So I'm going to change this. And this is one of the things that I absolutely love about Design Space, is you can create original and beautiful things without putting in too much effort. So I feel like sometimes we feel like we have to do everything from scratch, and we just put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So I love that there's everything here, and we can just sort of personalize it to how we want it, basically. So I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to make this smaller. And then I don't want the background, so you can see on the sidebar it's grouped, or not the background, the border. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's zoom in so we can see a bit better. And what's nice about this is it is an editable one, so I can just double click and edit the name. What I am going to have to do is just sort of ungroup that so that I can move my name. I think that's centered. We're going to change the color to red. And then I just also want to make sure, so I'm going to just group these again so they're easier to work with. Okay, so what I do want to do is I just want to make sure that any of the pieces that are looking like they're gray, that they are actually black. And these, I do want them to be a brighter yellow. That's fine. And then this one, I do want this to be black. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put an offset around our entire group. So the reason I'm putting an offset is I find that if you put color directly onto pattern and there's nothing to break it up, then it kind of hides in there. It doesn't stand out as much. So I like to add a little offset. Let's apply that and see. That's quite big, so I'm going to Control Z and I'm going to add a smaller one. Let's go with 0.1. That works. We're going to make that white. So it's just going to give it that little border around it. So it's going to make it stand out a little bit more. You can see it stands out beautifully. Now the most important thing with print then cut is you're not going to attach all of this, you're going to flatten it. So remember, attaching takes multiple functions, makes it work together on the same mat. Flattening, I like to think of playing with Play-Doh. If I have 6 different colors and I squish them together, I flatten them, they are now essentially one piece of Play-Doh. I'm not going to be able to separate them into their different colors. And obviously your machine can only cut one color at a time, so if it is multiple colors and it's flattened together, it has to be print then cut. So we're just going to select all of these and we're going to say flatten. And there we have our Christmas Eve box. So it's super simple, not difficult at all. Okay, we've got that, we've got that. Now we're going to do our letter to Santa. And again, there are so many templates on Design Space, it really doesn't have to be a difficult thing. So if we go to images and we just look for letter to Santa, we will find loads and loads of templates. So I went with this one previously, and I think I might use the same one. So what's nice about this is it's literally insert, print, cut. You don't have to do anything with this. It is super simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase it to its maximum size. You can see I've got a little exclamation mark here. So I'm just going to click that. It's telling me that it's too large. So to save myself time and hassle, I'm just going to say auto resize image. And now it's the perfect size. It's going to give me the maximum print then cut size for this specific shape. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a treat topper. So I have only done one so far, but there's so many amazing ideas that you can do. So one of the ones that I saw that I absolutely love is it is a candy cane, and it's actually broken inside of the packet, and it's called a candy cane puzzle expert level. So I absolutely love that. The other one is reindeer soup, which is the one that I am making, or that I have made, and I'll be making another one. Another one is reindeer food, and that's a big hit. So these are some really great ideas to do for the kids, and I must say my kids absolutely love it. So to do our treat toppers, sorry, just one second. Okay, so to do our treat toppers, what we're going to do is we're going to insert a square. And then you're going to measure the top of your treat bag. So if I grab my treat bag here and I just measure it quickly, what I want to do, and I will just show you when I change the camera as well, what I did was I just gave it a couple millimeters on either side. So 16.5, 16.8 I would say is good for my treat topper. So we're going to make our width 16.8. And then we're going to unlock it and we're going to change our height. So the height, you just measure how much you want it to be sort of on the front, and then you're going to double that. So I want 3 centimeters, so it's going to be 3 centimeters on either side. So for this one, we're going to do 6. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change it to 3. And that's going to help me see where my score line needs to be. So I'm just going to align both of these, center horizontally and then bottom. And we're just going to change the color so that we can see it better. So there you can see I've got a clear indication of where the line needs to be, which just makes it a lot easier. So I recently did, what do you call them? Lollipop holders. And I learned a nifty little trick. So I'm just going to show you because we have a little bit of time. It's a super easy project. So I have some time to show you. So let's say you're doing a lollipop holder and you have a whole bunch of score lines that you need to do. So what I did is I used a square, and it works best with a square, obviously. So let's just zoom in. So you could have your however many squares, because obviously if you're doing the lollipop, if you haven't seen the lollipop holder that I did, it was kind of like a wraparound box, which means it needed 4 score lines. So then we duplicate them, we line them up like this, and then we just make sure they're aligned, center horizontally. You're going to then duplicate this so that you have a back piece. This one you would weld, send it to the back, stick it behind there. Maybe I should change them to white so you can see. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to change these boxes to score. So where's our score? There it is. So you would change the top one and the bottom one to score. And then you can just delete the middle ones because obviously you don't need them. So yes, this is going to score around the edges, but you're going to have those perfectly spaced score lines. It's exactly where you need it. It's just a really easy way to figure it out. So there's my little trick that I learned. I was quite impressed with how that turned out. Okay, so back to our treat toppers. So we're going to be adding a cute little reindeer. You can obviously add whatever you want. So my idea is that every topper will kind of have a picture that suits what's in it. Yeah, so for this one, it is a reindeer. So Candace said a parental announcement. She did feed the kids. She's just not hungry at the moment herself. So I must admit I did the same thing. I've fed kiddo, but I haven't fed the adults, so I'm not the favorite with the adults, but it's completely fine. We'll be fine. We can eat after. So here's our cute little reindeer. So just to show you, obviously I've bookmarked these, but if you want an easy way to look for print and cut things, you can search reindeer, and then you're just going to change this to print and cut. It's going to give you all of your print and cut things. But how cool is this? So if we close that up, okay, we click on that, we say images, it will give you sort of similar images to what you're working with. So you can see I haven't searched for anything, but I'm getting a whole bunch of print and cut things coming up, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to resize her. And I do want her to stick up over the top. So, Candace says, am I the only one saying score in the middle to the screen? So I am going to show you why I haven't scored yet, or why I haven't put the score line in yet. So I'm going to duplicate this, and this is completely up to you if you'd like to do this step. I just kind of like that I will have the picture on the background, and then I'll have it kind of 3D on it as well. So this step is completely up to you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to select our reindeer and our bottom square, and we're going to slice that. And yes, I did just take her head off. Okay, so we don't actually need this because we can see where our score line goes. So the reason I haven't put it obviously over the entire thing is this part is going to fold over to the back. You can put little, what do you call them, barcodes on if you want. You can have a little message. You can have a little write-up on how to use whatever it is that you're making. So we have this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the bottom of the reindeer, and I'm going to select our big square, and I'm going to say flatten. Then I'm going to send that to the back so that I can see that line again. Now I'm going to insert my score line. So if I insert my score line before I flatten my image, it's going to flatten that line onto the image, and it's not going to score separately. So we're just going to change this to 90. And then we're going to change the size to 16.5. And then we're just going to stick it over there. And we're going to align all of this center horizontally. And I did forget to put my wording in, so I'm just going to do that quickly. So this one, we're going to do reindeer soup, which is actually just hot chocolate. Spoiler alert, that's not how you spell reindeer. That's how you spell it. So I think it was during Caroline's class, or maybe it was Sarah's class, we were talking about fonts that we love. And one of the ones that I absolutely love, especially for Christmas time, is this Elizabeth. It is beautiful. There it is. Did it change? Is it thinking? I think I was too quick. Why is it not changing? There we are. Okay, we have it. Okay, so this is my favorite Christmas font. I absolutely love it. We're just going to zoom in to make it easier for ourselves, specifically me with the glasses. And we're just going to make this a little bit smaller. So remembering we are going to have this little girl on top there, so we don't want to overlap it because we will lose parts of it. Okay, so I'm very carefully going to select, okay, well, let's select all of it. You can see I've got my score line. I'm going to hold down shift, let that go, and I'm going to let go of the slice result, and I'm going to flatten again because I forgot to do that. Now we're going to send that to the back. We can delete that box, and you can see I've got my score line, and I've got my wording and everything I need. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this. So remember, we're attaching because we need it to print, cut, and score. Okay, so I'm just moving my very loud laptop and trying not to disconnect the speaker because then I will lose you all. It is a process. Okay, so so now we can say make it, we've got everything, so let's just zoom out so we can see that we've got everything, everybody happy. So we have our Christmas Eve box that we're going to be cutting out of cardstock, and then we've got our 4 print then cut images which we're going to be printing and then cutting, obviously. So we're going to say make it. We're going to make sure our machine is on, that's very important. Let's save it. Okay, so with print then cut, one of the most important things is making sure that your paper size on Design Space is set to the paper size that you're using, as well as the paper size that your printer will use. So for instance, if you have it set to letter here, and you print an A4, your print or your cut is going to be off. So you have to make sure that it all matches. Very, very important. And then you can see we have our 3 print and cut images, and we have our box. I did not do, so I'm just going to cancel this quickly. So I did not create my beautiful offset for my box. So I did want a glitter cardstock offset here. Here it is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this slightly smaller, and we're going to add an offset, and we'll do about 0.4, I think. That's good. Okay, then very important, we just want to make sure that this is not printing cut, this is basic cut, and we want to change the color because it's going to be different to our box. So we can say make it now. Okay, and I'm using a brand new mat, so I am going to cut my box and my glitter cardstock first so that I can try to reduce the stickiness slightly. So we're going to do it on mat 30.5 by 30.5. Make sure that we're on A4. Very, very important. And then we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but let's see. So we're going to say send to printer. And this is a debate that I've seen quite a few times, so I just want to add some clarity on this. A lot of times people say, why is there sort of like fuzzy around my my wording? And then a lot of the times the advice is to turn the bleed off. So what your bleed does is it adds a bleed around everything that the machine is going to cut. So let's say you're trying to make a name card, and it is making your words very fuzzy, then it means that the setup was not done correctly. So you always have to have something solid behind your printing cut image. So for instance, with the place card or the name card, you would have a solid rectangle that you would flatten everything onto. So I always use the bleed. What it does is when the machine cuts, it stops you from getting those white edges, which obviously don't look so good. So I say always add the bleed, and you're always going to use your system dialog. If you don't use your system dialog, then it is going to print at basically the absolute lowest quality, or the quality that your system default is. So if you are using plain paper, or the plain paper setting, then what will happen if you're trying to print on photo paper or printable vinyl is you'll end up getting lines across your image because plain paper prints very quickly. So with anything that has this coating, it kind of needs to go a little bit slower. So always use system dialog, and then you can adjust your settings according to what paper you're using. So I'm using 135 GSM photo paper, glossy. So I'm going to use the matte photo paper setting, and the reason I'm using that one is that it puts out less ink, so it's not going to leave my paper sort of saturated. Yeah, so that's what I'll be using, and obviously high quality print because I want a good print. Okay, so I don't think you will see this part, but it's opened up my printer settings, and I can now select my printer. I can change my paper type to matte, and I can change it to high quality. Make sure that it's set to A4 because we want everything to match, and then say print. Okay, so then it tells you this is what your print should look like. So obviously if it doesn't look like this, then that is an issue. And it will have to be sorted out, obviously. So if it doesn't look like this, it means your print's not going to come out correctly and you should print again. So let's just say done. We're going to connect our maker. So that is going to print in the background. Hopefully. I'm not hearing it printing. It's not. Oh, there it is. It's printing. Okay, so we're connected. So I'm going to now start cutting the rest of the stuff. Once that is printed, then we will come back. So I'm going to use the medium cardstock setting for that. I'm going to use the medium cardstock setting for that, and I'm going to use the glitter cardstock setting for that. So let's start with our glitter cardstock. And we're going to browse all materials. Okay, so this is our reindeer soup. It's nothing weird. So this is what I meant when you're going to measure the packet. So you're just going to give it a little bit of space on either side, and you can see 16.8ish is good. Then what you're going to do is you're going to measure this space and see how deep you want it to be. I went with 3, which means that I needed 6 centimeters. So the cardstock I'm using, or the glitter cardstock I'm using, is the Cricut glitter cardstock, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love, 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 love it. I'm going to be using the green one. So last I checked, this was available on the secret sale, so it's www.secretsale.co.za. I'm a little bit stressed about this mat because it's super sticky, so I'm not going to press everything down too hard. I'm just going to kind of lay it on there and do that. I am missing my blade though, so I'm just going to change that. So while I'm changing my blade, I do just want to give a shout out to Tegan and Emily. I know they always watch and silently cheer us on, and I just want you both to know you're amazing and we appreciate you, and I hope you're going to make Mom make you a Christmas Eve box. Zelda says this is her favorite glitter cardstock. I must admit, I absolutely love it. It is gorgeous. Okay, so we're just going to say go. So I have this terrible issue with this cardstock where I've used, so I have about 5 packs, and I've used all of the pink from all of the packs. So I just keep buying new packs to use the pink. So the pink is amazing for like Barbie themed things. Okay, so we're just going to unload that. Turn our mat over, especially now because this is super, super sticky. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yep, that's super sticky. So I might use one of my old mats just to do the print and cut because I don't want to have any issues. Oh. Oh yeah, this is super sticky. Super sticky. So we're going to put that aside and we're going to pull out one of our older ones. Oh, shame they're so dirty. I do apologize. Oh, it's even got little kitty footsies on it. Okay, so, and it's even got a wing. So I have this really terrible habit of when I'm done with my mat, I don't even cover it. I just stick it on the top of my machine in that little slot. So clearly my cat has walked on it. Okay, so we're going to print our other one quickly. We're going to use the same process. So I'm obviously using the same paper, matte photo paper, high quality. So I just want to grab this. I did see there was a little piece that tore here. Okay, matte, high quality. Okay, print. Okay, so because I've reverted to an older mat, I am going to be using my brayer now. So the reason I didn't take a chance with this on our stickier mat is because when it does the score, it will push it into the mat very hard, obviously. So if I'm using a stickier mat, then there's a higher chance I'm not going to be able to get it off. Good night, Emily and Tegan. Sweet dreams. I hope your elves are not too naughty tonight. Okay, so we're going to be using the medium cardstock setting, and I'm going to be using the single scoring wheel for this. If you do not have a single scoring wheel, you can use the scoring stylus. It works the same way. I just prefer the scoring wheel. Okay, I'm going to put that there so I don't lose it because I have a habit of doing that. Okay, so I'm just tidying this up, but it just, yeah, it didn't cut all the way through, just on that edge, probably because I didn't press it down nicely. So just to show you our print, very pretty. You can see, can you see? Yes, you can see. So you can see that there is no fuzziness around any of the wording or the lettering, which means that we've set it up correctly. It's going to cut around the outside, it's going to score across, it's going to do all the things that it should do. I do need a bigger desk though. Okay, so the machine has stopped. It's telling me that it's ready for the next part, which is to cut the box. So Candace has a very good question. She said, why when I have a score line does my machine keep asking for a double scoring wheel and recommending that? What's the difference between double scoring wheel and single scoring wheel? So while I'm cutting this, I'm just going to jump back to Design Space so that I can show you. So a single scoring wheel creates a single scoring line, obviously. A double scoring wheel creates a double scoring line. So if I click on Craftboard for this, you can see that it's asking me for the double scoring wheel. And the reason for that is because it's a thicker material. If it has a single score line, when I fold it, it has a higher chance of tearing. So if you create two score lines right next to each other, then it gives it that space to fold without tearing. So that would be why. It will obviously be based on the material that you're using, and if it is a heavier material that requires a higher cut pressure, it's going to ask for that. So you can here say edit tools, and you can actually change to what you want it to be. So for the scoring wheel, you can change it to the single scoring wheel, or you can change it to your scoring stylus. So I'm just going to close that because Yeah, don't need that. So we're going to change this back to medium cardstock, and then I'm going to bring you back here. Okay, so here is our little box. And I think older mats, although they don't look very pretty, are great for cardstock. They work very well. So what I'm also doing is I'm just making sure one side's smooth, one side is textured. I'm just making sure that I keep them the same way, so that once my box, so the same way while cutting, so that once my box is assembled, I don't have one piece with smooth on the outside and one piece with textured on the outside. It's just a small thing you can do to keep it uniform. Okay, we have our second printing cut, and we've just got one more to do. And then obviously we will go back and we will cut them. Feels a little bit chaotic because it's all over the place, but I'm trying to save a bit of time. So again, using system dialog to print. And the only thing with this is, and the reason I'm not cutting this while I'm doing all of this, is once I start cutting this, I can't tell it to print. So I tell it to print first, then I move on to my next cut. Preferences, matte paper, so it's called Epson matte, and it's high quality. So I'm using an Epson L1 250 for this, and I'm quite happy with it. I know that's a question that always comes up. Okay, so that's printing. We're now going to do our final cut for our box. And we're going to do medium cardstock. We're going to change our scoring wheel again. Oopsie. So Candace says that she always uses her scoring stylus, so just to give some insight onto what the actual difference is between a scoring stylus and a scoring wheel. So your scoring stylus is going to drag across your paper or your material, and when you're using a thicker material, that usually turns out 100% fine 100% of the time. But if you're using a thinner material, there's a high chance that it could nick that material and it could tear it. So with something like this, because I'm using an older mat and there might be spaces around the mat where it's not 100% stuck, what could happen is it could actually nick that and sort of tear it. So with your scoring wheel, it rolls across it and you have less chance of that happening. So I've just seen as well, just something to be careful of. You can see I have some material on my blade, and that will affect your cut, so just something to be careful of. Okay, while that cuts, we're going to be folding our box, and it is very, very simple. Now my printer's just having a breakdown. It's fine, we love her. Okay, so we've done that, we've done that. I'm just going to swap so that I can see. Okay, so it's super simple. We're going to fold along our score lines like so. So I'm folding inwards. I find that easier. And there we have our first piece ready. Okay, now for our printing cut. We're just going to make sure we're on the right one. So it's the first one. I'm going to choose medium cardstock. And we're just going to put this on. And we are going to use our brayer because I am using the older mat. Okay, we're going to go and fold this again. Oh no, we need the scoring. It might throw it out because there is a score in this one. Okay, now we're going to so Candace said she needs the double scoring wheels. Secret sale, here I come. Wonder if it's there. So maybe somebody can have a look for us. Okay, so I'm using Jewel Bond. You can obviously use whatever glue works for you. Okay, there. So you can see it stopped and it's kicked me out and it's told me that I need to put the single scoring wheel in, which I thought was going to happen. So we're just going to put that in and press start again. Okay. So when I work with cardstock, so what I like to do is I put quite a bit of glue, but you can see I'm not going too close to the edge. So then what I do is I take the flap that I'm going to attach to it, I put it onto the glue and I swipe down like that. So you can see what it's doing is it's putting glue right up to the edge, and then I position it and I stick down. Let me just see what it's telling me. Ah, it's already done. Okay, so I'm just going to go and do this for all four corners, or for all four sides, should I say. And I know it looks like I'm putting a lot of glue, but I'm really not. So one thing you do want to try avoid is getting glue on the edge like I have there, so just wipe it away. So on the outer edge, just so you can also just do that. Okay, this is ready. Here we are, and there we are. Okay, next one is our letter for Santa. And you can obviously apply these principles to pretty much anything. You don't have to use this specific letter. You don't have to make those specific toppers. If you are using a smaller bag, you can kind of make little heart toppers. You can make circular ones. There's so much that you can do. The principle will stay the same with all of them. So we're going to do medium cardstock for this one too. And we're going to carry on sticking while that does it. So while that is doing its thing and I'm sticking the edges of our box, I just wanted to talk about errors that you can encounter with printing cuts. So if your machine sort of looks for the registration marks much longer than what you're seeing here, then that indicates that there's a problem, and that problem could be caused by a few things. It could be caused by too much light. So if you're using a glossy paper, and like me, you've got an overhead light and it's shining down onto the paper, it can cause a reflection into your sensor, and then that's going to cause problems. So whenever you encounter that problem, just always do like a process of elimination. So number one, did you use the correct paper size on Design Space, on your printer, and in your printer? So for instance, A4. That would be the first thing you would look at. The second thing you're going to look at is if there is a lot of light flooding the area. So you can test that in two different ways. So you can get a white crayon, and the wax from the crayon will actually help to reduce the glare. So if you're going to do that, what you would do is you would color over here with the white, obviously not so hard that you cover your registration marks, just enough to apply a little layer of wax onto it. Another thing you can do is you can use Scotch tape. So it's like sellotape, but it's got that sort of frosted look to it. So that one always did work for me. If none of those work, so you've tried all of them, everything's right, then do reach out to member care, because that might indicate a bigger problem. So member care really is there to help. They're really good at what they do. They've dealt with many different technical queries, so they know all of the troubleshoot steps. And if you call them when they first open, you usually get a very good response time. So obviously they do service quite a few regions and they can get very busy, but they will probably get you up and running a lot quicker than any of us would be able to. So it is worth it to give them a call if you're experiencing issues. It really shouldn't be a difficult process. Obviously, there's things with our machines that we have to learn, but it is quite an easy process that most of us should be able to do once we learn the basics. Okay, so last one, medium cardstock. Okay, so I'm just gonna do these last 4 edges here. And then I have to ask, has anybody shopped the new materials from Takealot yet? So I was very naughty, and I did shop a few things. Yes, I am ashamed. But one of the things I absolutely love are the dual, is it called dual tipped or dual sided markers? So what I love about them, in the class that I was planning, I was actually going to use them. I was going to do a draw then cut Santa letter, and then I decided to go this route. But what I love about them is you've got a 1mm tip on one side, and then you've got a 0.4 on the other side. So you can create the most amazing draw then cut things. So for instance, with this border, I would have used the 1mm, and then with the writing, I would have used the 0.4. And there are so many beautiful colors. I'm absolutely in love with them. Yes, so Zelda's made a very important, I wouldn't say observation. She stated something very important in the comments. So let's say you're using an Explore. I think it's the Explore machines. Somebody can just correct me if I'm wrong. They only cut on white paper. The maker can use colored, but it has to be light. So printing cut works best with light cardstocks or light papers. It doesn't work so well, let's say, if you were printing on a dark brown. It might battle to read the registration marks. So that's also just something to look at, the color of your material, if it is suitable. Okay, so here we have our little box. So we're just going to see. Okay, so it looks like this is our top. Oopsie, sliding everywhere. Yes, so this is the top of our box. We're now going to just put it together. Let's just... So Kamal says he has just arrived and we may begin. I don't see Maury biscuits. And I feel like you're always late, Kamal, but we do appreciate you joining us. So our Santa letter is here, done. That's simple. It's really cute. The kids can fill it in, leave their letter for Santa. Okay, so for the box, what I'm going to do, this is EVA foam. So I'm just going to cut little strips. Oh, I almost dropped all of my tools again. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to cut little pieces of my EVA foam. If you are like me, you've realized that double-sided tape, while double-sided foam squares, while versatile, easy, are very expensive. So what I usually do is I use die cut and bond and I stick it on either side, but this is just an option if you don't have that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your normal jewel bond, your Tombow glue, you're going to actually stick this. So this, I'm going to just stick it onto our box, like so. Just make sure it's nice and centered. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some jewel bond onto my EVA. And I'm going to stick it onto the back. Mumta said somebody give Lolly some sweeties, she's dropping things, and honestly, yes, girl, yes, please. Send sweets, send snacks. I think we've all reached that year-end slump, if you will, and it's just everything is getting super hard, but we are almost there and we will pull through. I'm very excited for the break. I'm very excited to spend time with my family. I think it has been both an amazing and very traumatic year. I think we can all attest to that. And I think we all deserve the break and definitely snackies. So if you have friends that you love, send them snacks. That's all I gotta say. Okay, we're just putting our little EVA, and I'm putting quite a bit on the back end because I'm sticking it onto glitter cardstock, and with the texture, things have a tendency to not stick to glitter cardstock. So I am just putting quite a bit on the back side of it. Just line that up nicely. There we are. And then what I'm doing is where I'm pressing it down, I'm kind of pressing where I've put those, whatever you want to call them, double-sided EVA pieces, those things. I'm sort of pressing and then pulling just so that I don't get that sagging in the middle. But how cute is that? That's super cute. And then you can obviously add your little bow if you want to. So I did just buy a bow. So there, just to show you, I did just buy a bow and then I just stuck some ribbon. So this was probably the hardest part of this whole box, was doing the ribbon, because it just doesn't want to sort of fold there. But I mean, pretty much exactly the same. So this one's got a bigger image on it. Also, it's for my eldest and she's too cool for this, so I don't think she wants a bow. Our Santa letters will be folded and put inside of that. So let's just put that aside. And then we're going to work on our treat topper. So again, super, super simple. We're just going to fold it like so. And then we're going to stick our beautiful little reindeer on it. So I'm going to be using double-sided foam again, tape, foam. If you have tape, use tape. If you have foam, use foam. So I'm just cutting a small piece. And what I love about doing it this way is, number one, it is cheaper. And number two, I can control exactly what size I want. I don't have to use a predefined size. Kim said she was listening and she does realize that it was all aimed at her. Honestly, Kim, at this point, anyone can send snacks. Like, anyone. Just snacks. Okay, so I have a little piece of my double-sided foamy thing. So what I would suggest here, okay, so I'm not going to be sticking this onto the bag just yet. There's two ways you can do it. You can use some double-sided tape to stick it. You can use some glue or double-sided tape, whichever, or you can use, what is these things called? What are those things? Staples. You can use staples. So I use staples. So if you're going to use staples, what I would suggest is you put this onto your bag now. You're going to staple it. Staple here where the reindeer is, because you're going to cover that. and then stick your reindeer on. So if you try and staple after you've stuck your reindeer on, what's going to happen is it's going to get kind of messy. Either you're going to bend your little reindeer, or maybe your packet's too big. So I have like a really tiny stapler. Anyway, so there's just a bit of advice. Put it on, staple it, and then apply this piece. So this is why I wanted this little bottom piece on it, so that number one, I know exactly where it's going and I can just stick it on. And number two, if you look at it sort of from the side, you can see it in there, so it gives it like a 3D effect. So this is also a super cute way to do little table placements. So we can put it down like that, and that is a super cute table placement. And I also did make my reindeer super big, so there's that. And that is it. That's the end of our class. So I hope that this class has helped to make you a bit more comfortable with printing cuts. It's honestly such an invaluable resource. There's so much that you can do with it. And it's not something that you should battle with. So again, if you are battling with it, obviously come back, watch the video. There were a lot of tips and tricks. But if you've tried all of this and you're still battling, please do reach out to member care. Again, they really are most equipped to deal with these things, and the aim is not to have you sitting on the phone frustrated. The aim is to get you crafting as soon as possible and enjoying the potential of your machine. So I cannot wait to see everybody's Christmas Eve boxes, and if you have not started the challenge yet, this is a great start with C, Christmas Eve box. Da, 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 da. I'm so smart. Thank you all for all of the amazing support this year. I think I speak for all of the teachers when I say that you've all been absolutely incredible. It's been refreshing. It's been an amazing break from real life to sit with you for this hour, do something that we love, engage with members who love doing it just as much. It's been honestly such an incredible journey this year, and I'm super excited for what next year holds. If you are coming back to watch this video, please do leave a comment and let us know what classes you'd like to see in the new year. We'd love to know what skills you would love to master, or things that you would like more info on. Thank you all so much. I hope you have an amazing festive season with your families. May it be a creative one, but may it also be a restful one. Have a good evening. Until next year.